Steph Curry. Back up top, Durant. 6 to shoot. Green finds Curry. Open in the corner. Curry hits the three. 31 for Steph Curry. And that throws it back up to a 16-point lead.
I just love how he...
The two-time MVP Steph Curry would finish with 36 as Golden State by 14 locks down a sweep, continue undefeated in the playoffs. We've got all your post-game coverage here on Game Time. Welcome inside our studios in Atlanta. Casey Stern, Rick Fox, Brent Barry. Bones, I'll start with you. We expected that we would get here. We didn't expect it would be without Kawhi on the other side, but brilliance and dominance in this series by Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, this team is really scary. You hear a lot of guys just talking about how it is that you're going to try to shut down this team, and there's no way to stop the leakage. Anytime that they're struggling offensively, they can still turn to their defense to get the job done, then get you in transition. They're the fastest scoring team. They get out, they kill you from the three-point line, and they really control the outcome of the game. I mean, they're just that good. If they're going to win, it's because they dominate their opponent, and if they're going to lose, it's because they sort of shoot themselves in the foot. Can they do that in the next round? We'll find out. But what a remarkable season for Golden State once again, piling up wins, acclimating Kevin Durant, and now primed for their third straight trip to the NBA Finals.
Rick, we knew the Spurs were going to need a huge effort if they were going to win this game from the enigma that has been LaMarcus Aldridge. He only had 8 points, unfortunately. They didn't get what they needed. It is a little bit of the inevitable, but what about the Spurs as we kind of move forward? You heard the Manu chants. Great class, by the way, shown by the Warriors. This is kind of a turning of the tide and a beginning of a new chapter for this franchise.
It appears that way. I don't know if we thought we'd be discussing that at this point when we started the series, but Tony Parker goes down with an injury. Tim Duncan obviously has not been there all year, and now Kawhi. Manu, we may say goodbye to for the last time tonight. Remains to be seen, but that's an end of an era if you think about it. And there's so much more. There's so much more, I think, ahead for the Spurs, especially for some of the young talent we got to see get thrown into fire a little earlier than expected. I thought they at least competed. But they weren't going to be a match for this Golden State Warrior team.
You know, Bones, obviously friendly with Manu. You played with him. You're sitting there and watching. Great moment, well-deserved, and as was mentioned in the broadcast, definitely going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday. Your thoughts as you watch what could be his final game of his career?
Well, I say this without apology. I love Manu. He's one of the favorite guys that I ever had a chance to suit up with. He's one of the most genuine people. Not just players. You hear the way he deals with the media. You should be on an airplane with him when he's dropping pickles in your glasses. He's always joking around. He's never lost kind of that childish behavior. That sort of drove Pop nuts for a long time. But it's something that Manu never lost. The fact that so many Argentinians came in, as the broadcast was mentioning, Doris Burke had mentioned so many people had come in to see him during potentially his last year. And I think it is. I think it is going to be his last year. He was so close to doing it last year. The Spurs signed him to one more year where he wanted to come in and have a smell the roses type of season, which he absolutely did. There's a bar of excellence that Manu had set for himself, and I know throughout the course of the regular season he was extremely frustrated. Even in the playoffs, he started the first 4 games against Memphis. He didn't score, then ended up with 2 brilliant Game 5s. Just pitching in 10 points against Memphis, and then I think 12 or 15 against Houston that lit a fire. And then a couple magical moments here in the Western Conference Finals. But one of my favorite people, a friend for life, and an absolute Hall of Famer.
Rick, it's tough to think about or not to think about what we might have missed out on without Kawhi in this series. And I think all three of us believe the Warriors were going to win this series, but you got robbed of a little bit of competition. To Bones' point earlier, just because they would have won Game 1, and they probably would have, doesn't mean they don't lose the next 4, circa the Sixers series against you after you started 11-0. But we did miss out on that battle, and it became a series that we knew would be inevitably towards Golden State.
Yeah, no, I think we were all looking forward to at least some level of competition, and we didn't get it. It's not to say the Spurs did not, represent themselves accordingly by suiting up, showing up, and playing the game as hard in the right way. But, yeah, this Golden State Warrior team has been special now for not just this season, but a number of years going back now. This is their 3rd time to the finals. They added an MVP player in Kevin Durant. So after a 73-win season, I mean, could you get better? It appears that they have. But we were hoping, as you said, we were hoping that this would be at least a test of 6 games and maybe even 7 that we'd got a chance to see these two battle because they've had great regular seasons now for 2 years in a row. And it's unfortunate that it ends this way.
Let's take a look at how it went down. Game 4, would it be a sweep? Yet the third of this postseason for Golden State. Kawhi, as we mentioned, out. Second straight game with the ankle. Manu Ginobili starting for the first time all season long. But early Bones, it was all about Steph Curry getting it done. First the spin, the drive, and a tough lay-in. But he was only getting started 13, Brent, in the quarter.
Well, he was getting into the middle of the lane, and there was just no resistance. You got to think down 3-0. The first thing you want to do is establish some kind of physical presence. Don't make the early shots easy, but for Golden State, they absolutely were, to the tune of 31 points in the first quarter.
Kevin Durant also playing well. Rick, we talked about in pregame the impact he's already had. We saw this in the first quarter, inside with the jumper, many different ways he was scoring. And early in the first half, really the 2 best players for the Warriors taking over.
Yeah, it's been the case throughout these playoffs that Kevin Durant seems to be having his way on the offensive end. And I don't know who's going to contest him when he's also playing this end of the floor. I mean, he didn't block it once, he blocked it twice. Right, left, just to be sure.
18 at the half for Durant, 65-51. More of the same in the second. Ball movement sets up the 3 for Durant. It's good. He had 29 and 12. The lead is 20. Then it was more Steph with 36 in the game. Off the dribble, he makes the 3. Pop looking on, not much he can do to try and defend this ball.
Forbes learning a lesson there about trying for the steal. You had to recover because you were out of position. And recovering the Steph Curry, you better do it lightning quick or else it counts for 3.
Could be his last game, as we talked about. Manu going down firing, drive in for the layup. Had 3 really good games in this series. Stepped up, probably was the best player on their team. Going back to game 2, here's another layup, and then when the shot was working too, at 15 and 7 off the dish from Patty Mills. The 3 here to cut the lead to 14. But the Warriors closing the door. Again, Rick, too many options. Here's Steph.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of this going forward. Wide open. He does not need a hand in the face. He still makes that shot. Great ball movement, great unselfish play, and here we see Manu potentially maybe for the last time.
Comes out to a standing ovation. Will he continue to play, or perhaps maybe put the sandals on, get the sand out on the beach and hang out the rest of his time after what's a Hall of Fame career? Great class shown, not only, of course, by the crowd, which you'd expect, but Bones by the Warrior players as well. Steph even at the free throw line giving an ovation.
Yeah, I love that, and I love Pop asking him if he wanted to go back into the game, and Manu saying, no, I'm good. A brilliant, brilliant career if, in fact, Manu calls it a day, and a legendary Spur. And I will tell you this, Casey, he is the most loved Spur. I mean, Tim was a guy that the San Antonio community never really connected with. They always thought he was out of touch. Manu Ginobili was the guy that they got to and they clung to. And I'm going to tell you, if he does retire, it's a big, big blow, an emotional one for a lot of what San Antonio Spurs fans think is represented as number